So there's a refugee camp in Calais, France, just across the English Channel from the United Kingdom. There are 3,000 people in that refugee camp, and 90% of them are men, 90%. Now here in the liberal West, we have a saying, women and children first, as in you protect them first. When the Titanic sank, 74% of women survived, 52% of kids. Only 20% of men, though. Not because the women and children were stronger than the men and pushed them aside in the scramble, but because the strong men chose to protect and save the less strong women and children. Now compare that to the refugees flooding through Europe now. According to the United Nations itself, 3/4 of these migrants are young men. They've left their women and children behind in the war zone. They're saving themselves. This, quote, refugee camp in Calais, it's not full of refugees. You're not a refugee if you're in France already. You're not at a risk of war or persecution. You don't go right to the edge of the country in Calais because you're afraid of, I don't know, another part of France. You go to Calais because that's where you sneak into the trucks, going into the channel, the underwater tunnel under the English Channel to the United Kingdom. That's where you go to sneak in to get the really good stuff, the super rich welfare, the super good free stuff. That's what this is. This is about free stuff, not refugees. Now the TV station France 24 sent a camera crew into this refugee camp in Calais. They call it the jungle, seriously. Now they interviewed a woman from Syria who is in this camp and is afraid to pop her head out of her tent for fear of being raped. Here, take a listen.
The inside of this tent is Milad's entire world right now. Terrified of drawing attention to herself, this Syrian refugee only goes out twice a day, and that's just to go to the toilet.
I sleep and eat here, and I'm surrounded by men. The people living next to us are Syrian, but we don't know the people living in the rest of the camp. They're from other countries, they speak different languages and have different cultures. We don't know anything about them, so we're scared and have to be on our guard.
Now she's Muslim herself, but she's terrified of the other Muslims there. Many of them are not from Syria. They're not fleeing a war. Like her, they're just going for the free stuff in the UK. It's not rich enough for them in Calais, you see. She wants to go to London. Who wouldn't? Oh, by the way, she says she's a law student herself, so she's from the upper classes in Syria, a rich girl. Her family sent her to get to London to go to law school there. Who wouldn't want to do that? This is not about saving her life. It's about getting rich as a lawyer in London. Now, the 2,700 young men in this jungle camp are terrifying to the 300 women, including this law student. Some of the women have become refugees from the refugees. They have left the jungle and have been taken into a women's shelter set up right near this camp. Here, take a look. They are under lock and key.
We locked the gate to protect the women and children who live here.
The refuge is 7 months old and is home to 115 women and children. Most are from Ethiopia, Eritrea and Sudan.
Wow, so fellow Muslim migrants are so afraid of the rest of the Muslim migrants that they are fleeing the fleers. They're staying under lock and key. You saw that. They're so terrified of their fellow migrants, saying, do you think maybe we should be terrified of them too? They're locking their gates. That Syrian rich girl is hiding. Do you think the United Kingdom should open the door to the 2,700 prowlers in the jungle? Do you think we should here in Canada? Hey, I've got an idea. How about we just help the lambs and not the wolves? How about we stop pretending that economic migrants looting the well-stocked shelves of the welfare state in the West are actually refugees at all? For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.